I will teach you how to think correctly, not how to make money, not how to succeed overnight, but how to think in a way that makes success a natural result of who you become. You see, the problem today isn't that people don't have ideas, it's that they don't know how to think about them. Most people react to life. Very few reflect on life. They chase opportunities instead of preparing their minds to recognize them. Thinking correctly is not about being smart. It's about seeing what others miss, about understanding what truly matters, and about training your mind to stay strong when everything around you seems to fall apart. When you face difficulties, the first question most people ask is, why me? But the person who thinks correctly asks, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift changes everything. One question creates excuses, the other creates growth. When your mindset moves from blaming to learning, from complaining to creating, life begins to open doors you never knew existed. Thinking correctly means turning obstacles into teachers, not enemies. It means you no longer run from problems. You study them, you learn from them, and you grow beyond them. Every challenge becomes your silent mentor. Thinking correctly also means understanding time. People always overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 10. Everyone wants quick results, instant recognition, and immediate comfort, but that's not how reality works. Correct thinking means you respect the process. You plant today, water tomorrow, and harvest in the future. You don't keep digging up the seed to see if it's growing. You trust your effort, you trust your patience, and you trust time. Success is not about doing more, it's about doing consistently what others quit doing too soon. When you think correctly, failure stops scaring you. You realize that failure is not the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. You begin to understand that every mistake hides a message. You start asking, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why did this happen to me? Correct thinking transforms pain into progress. It turns every fall into fuel. Every great achievement you admire was built on a mountain of failed attempts. Those who win are simply those who learn to think differently about losing. Another key to thinking correctly is to understand people. Don't just learn how to make money, learn how to make relationships. Don't just look for opportunities, look for people who think better than you. The world doesn't change through isolation, it changes through collaboration. Correct thinking is never selfish. It doesn't compete to destroy, it competes to improve. It doesn't compare to feel inferior, it compares to get inspired. When you understand this, jealousy disappears and admiration takes its place. You grow faster when you celebrate others' success instead of resenting it. Most people spend their lives thinking about what they don't want. They say, I don't want to fail, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be rejected. But the mind doesn't understand don't. It only understands focus. So when you think about what you fear, you attract it. Correct thinking means directing your focus toward what you want, not what you want to avoid. If you focus on growth, you'll grow. If you focus on learning, you'll learn. If you focus on fear, you'll freeze. Your life is always moving toward your dominant thoughts. So think carefully about what you feed your mind. To think correctly, you must also master your emotions. There will be moments when life feels unfair, when people doubt you, when plans fall apart. But the one who wins is not the one who feels less pain. It's the one who doesn't let pain control their direction. Correct thinking means you don't make decisions in anger, fear, or frustration. You pause, you breathe, and you think. You act with clarity, not chaos. The more emotional storms you can calm within, the more control you'll have over your destiny. Thinking correctly is not something you're born with. It's something you train. Every day you must challenge your mind. Ask better questions. Replace negative thoughts with powerful ones. Learn from people wiser than you. Reflect at the end of each day. The mind grows only when it's stretched beyond its comfort. So don't be afraid to think big, but also don't be afraid to think deeply. Surface thinkers chase trends. Deep thinkers create them. And finally, correct thinking begins with believing in yourself. Not because life is easy, but because you know you'll keep learning until you figure it out. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is simple: how they think when everything goes wrong. Because your mind is the starting point of every victory you'll ever have. Train it, protect it, and use it well. Because once you learn how to think correctly, no one can ever take that power away from you. Most people live their lives reacting to everything that happens around them. They hear bad news and immediately they panic. Someone criticizes them and they get defensive. Plans fail and they lose motivation. This way of living keeps them trapped in emotional cycles of frustration and disappointment. They respond to life as if they have no control, no choice, no awareness of their own power. But the truth is, how you respond to life determines how your life Fee unfolds. The real growth begins when you stop reacting and start reflecting. When you replace the question, why is this happening to me, with what is this trying to teach me? You begin to see life differently. You begin to realize that every challenge, every failure, every disappointment has something to show you about yourself. When you think this way, your perspective changes. Instead of seeing obstacles as punishment, you begin to see them as preparation. You understand that pain is not meant to stop you, it's meant to shape you. The moment you start reflecting, you take back control of your thoughts. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming a student of life. Reflection allows you to find meaning in the mess, clarity in the confusion, and growth in the struggle. You start asking deeper questions. What can I improve? What should I learn? What can I do better next time? And these questions guide you toward maturity, resilience, and emotional strength. Reacting is easy. It requires no thought. It's an emotional reflex. Someone offends you and you fire back. Something goes wrong and you give up. But reflection takes discipline. It requires silence, patience, and honesty with yourself. When you reflect, you pause before you act. You think before you speak. You observe your emotions without letting them control your behavior. That's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary minds. The ordinary person reacts based on how they feel. The extraordinary person responds based on what they've learned. Reflection doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. When you shift from reacting to reflecting, you begin to see patterns in your life. You start noticing that the same problems keep showing up until you finally learn the lesson they carry. Life has a strange way of repeating lessons until they are mastered. If you keep reacting without reflecting on, you repeat mistakes endlessly. But when you take time to think deeply, to analyze your failures, to understand your emotions, you break the cycle. You begin to grow beyond the limits of your past thinking. You stop saying, I can't believe this happened to me, and start saying, now I understand why it had to happen. That shift alone can change your direction completely. People who reflect don't waste pain. They transform it. They don't let disappointment destroy their spirit. They use it to strengthen their mind. They take what others call a setback and turn it into a stepping stone. When you ask, what is this teaching me? You train your brain to look for value in difficulty. You find lessons in loss, wisdom in waiting, and strength in struggle. Every time you reflect, you expand your awareness. You start to see opportunities where others see problems. You start to act with intention rather than reaction. The power of reflection also changes how you handle people. When someone wrongs you, instead of reacting with anger, you reflect on their behavior and ask what it reveals about them and what it reveals about you. You learn that not every insult deserves a response. Not every situation requires your energy, and not every emotion should become an action. This awareness creates peace inside you. It gives you emotional control. You begin to choose your battles wisely, conserve your strength, and maintain focus on what truly matters. Reflection helps you grow emotionally intelligent. It teaches you to listen more and speak less. It shows you how to understand before judging, how to think before deciding, and how to process before reacting. It gives you space between stimulus and response. And in that space lies your greatest power, the power to choose, the power to stay calm when others panic, to stay kind when others are cruel, to stay focused when others are distracted. The reflective mind is not slow, it's strategic. It doesn't rush to conclusions. It looks for understanding. When you live reflectively, you also become more creative because your mind-eye is not clouded by emotional reactions. It starts generating solutions. You begin to connect ideas that others overlook. You stop seeing problems as dead ends and start seeing them as puzzles to be solved. This is why reflective thinkers often become innovators and leaders. They train their minds to rise above emotion and see the bigger picture. They don't drown in challenges, they study them. They don't let fear block their vision. They analyze it until it loses its power. Every great transformation begins with reflection. Before you change your habits, you must understand them. Before you change your direction, you must analyze where you are. Before you change your life, you must change your thinking. When you stop reacting and start reflecting, you start leading your own mind instead of letting the world lead it for you. You begin to understand that growth doesn't come from what happens to you. It comes from how you think about what happens. Most people underestimate the power of time because they live in a world that celebrates speed, not patience. Everyone wants success now, recognition now, comfort now. They rush into things, expecting results before they've earned them. But time has its own rhythm. It rewards those who understand that real growth cannot be rushed. Respecting time means respecting the process that shapes you. It means accepting that every great achievement is built step by step, day by day, not in one lucky moment. Those who think correctly understand that time is not an enemy to fight, but a partner to grow with. They know that consistency is far more powerful than intensity. One small effort done daily is worth more than 1,000 dreams never acted upon. When you truly respect time, you stop comparing your journey to others. You realize that everyone has their own pace, their own season of growth, and their own moment to rise. Comparison is what kills progress because it makes you impatient. You look at someone who's ahead and forget that they also had years of unseen effort. You focus on their result instead of their routine. Respecting time means understanding that your moment will come, but only if you keep showing up, learning, and working, even when no one notices. The world may not applaud your effort today, but time will. Time never forgets consistent people. People who chase instant results burn out quickly. They jump from one idea to another, never staying long enough to see real progress. They confuse movement with improvement. But when you respect time, you build patience and persistence. You understand that roots must grow underground before a tree appears above ground. That's why most people give up too early. They can't see the roots growing. They don't realize that the progress they can't see is often the most important. The unseen work, the quiet discipline, the lonely nights, all of that is what time multiplies later into visible success. Time teaches you humility. It reminds you that growth is not always glamorous. There are seasons where nothing seems to move, where effort feels wasted and results seem far away. But those are the seasons that build you. They develop your strength, your character, and your resilience. Respecting time means not quitting just because results take longer than expected. It means understanding that time doesn't delay you. It prepares you. Every moment of waiting is shaping you into the person who can handle what you're asking for. When you learn to respect time, you also learn to value small progress. You stop waiting for big victories to feel proud. You start celebrating every step, every improvement, every lesson learned. Because growth is not a sudden event, it's a gradual process. Each small victory builds momentum, and each day of effort builds strength. The person who learns to stay consistent, even when motivation fades, becomes unstoppable. Motivation can start a journey, but consistency finishes it. Respecting time means relying on discipline, not mood. You keep going, not because it's easy, but because you trust the process. Those who rush through life often make mistakes that cost them more time later. They choose shortcuts that promise speed but lead to setbacks. But those who respect time know that shortcuts create fragile success. They understand that strong foundations take time to build. You can't build something lasting if you're not willing to go through the slow seasons. The greatest people in history didn't become great because they were fast. They became great because they didn't stop. They gave time what it needed: effort, patience, and consistency. Respecting time also changes how you handle failure. When you rush, failure feels final. But when you respect time, you see failure as feedback. You understand that mistakes are not the end of the road, but part of the journey. Every setback becomes a lesson, every detour a teacher. You stop demanding success now and start building success through time. The more patient you become, the more fearless you become, because you no longer see waiting as wasted time, you see it as invested time. Time rewards those who plant seeds long before harvest. Most people only want the harvest. They want recognition, success, and results, but they don't want to go through the seasons of watering, waiting, and enduring storms. Respecting time means committing to the unseen stages. It means having faith that what you are doing today will matter tomorrow, even if no one sees it yet. It means trusting the long game, knowing that every effort adds up, even when it feels invisible. Failure is something most people fear from the very beginning. They are taught to avoid it, to see it as proof of weakness or as a sign that they are not good enough. But those who think correctly understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process that leads to it. Failure is not something to run from. It is something to study. It carries lessons that success can never teach. Every time you fail, you are being shown what doesn't work, what needs adjustment, and what must be improved. Failure is the mirror that reflects your gaps and your strengths. When you learn to face it with courage and curiosity, it becomes your greatest teacher. The problem is that most people take failure personally. They think failure means they are a failure. That's where they go wrong. Failure is an event, not an identity. It's a moment in your journey, not the definition of your worth. When something doesn't go as planned, the correct way to think is not "I failed," but "this method failed." That shift changes everything. It removes the emotion and brings clarity. It allows you to analyze the situation instead of drowning in disappointment. People who rise after failure are not luckier than others. They simply choose to see failure differently. When you redefine failure, you become fearless. You stop worrying about what others think. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You take action because you know that mistakes are not permanent damage. They are data. Every failed attempt is information about how to do it better next time. Every setback is feedback. The more you fail, the more information you gather, and the closer you get to success. That's how true progress happens. It's not through perfection, but through persistent adjustment. Failure also builds mental toughness. Each time you fall and get back up, you train your mind to handle pressure. You Davy. ELOP resilience, patience, and emotional strength. Success doesn't come to those who avoid pain. It comes to those who endure it, learn from it, and rise stronger. Every great person you admire has faced countless failures, but they kept going, not because they were never afraid, but because they learned to walk with fear instead of running from it. Correct thinking transforms failure into a training ground for greatness. The way you respond to failure determines how far you go. Some people give up at the first sign of difficulty. Others blame circumstances, luck, or people around them. But the ones who grow ask different questions. They ask, what went wrong? What can I change? What did I learn? Those questions open the mind while excuses close it. Failure only defeats those who stop asking questions. The moment you begin to reflect, analyze, and apply what you learned, failure starts working for you instead of against you. Failure also teaches you humility. It reminds you that no matter how smart or talented you are, there is always more to learn. It breaks your ego, and that's a good thing, because when ego dies, growth begins. People who think they already know everything stop progressing, but those who accept their mistakes and stay open to learning continue to evolve. Humility doesn't make you weak. It keeps you grounded, curious, and adaptable. Failure is life's way of keeping you real, of reminding you that mastery takes time, practice, and persistence. When you experience failure, it also reveals who you truly are. Some people pretend to be strong until things fall apart, but failure exposes your character. It shows whether you are driven by comfort or by commitment. Those who think correctly see failure as a test of faith. They don't lose confidence in themselves just because a plan failed. They trust that every setback is redirection, not rejection. As the plan doesn't work because life is guiding you towards something better. When you stop fighting failure and start listening to it, you discover wisdom you didn't know you had. Failure also purifies your vision. When things don't go your way, you are forced to question why you started. Many people chase goals for the wrong reasons, to impress others, to seek validation, or to prove their worth. But failure strips away those illusions. It makes you ask, do I really want this? Is this truly my path? And when your answer is yes, you return to the journey with stronger conviction. Failure removes distractions and reveals purpose. It shows you whether your motivation is shallow or deep. Correct thinking about failure means you see it as part of success, not the end of it. You understand that the road to mastery is filled with trials. You realize that every failure you survive increases your capacity to handle bigger challenges. You stop being discouraged by slow progress because you know that behind every success story are countless untold stories of failure. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try, but those who try, fail, learn, and rise again, they are the ones who change everything. Failure is not the final chapter. It's the paragraph that builds the climax of your story. Every wrong turn strengthens your understanding. Every mistake deepens your wisdom, and every fall sharpens your vision. The more you experience it, the more capable you become. Because failure doesn't destroy those who think correctly. It refines them, trains them, and prepares them for the success that lasts. In a world where everyone wants to stand out, people often forget that true growth doesn't come from competition, but from connection. The ones who rise the highest are not those who try to outshine everyone else, but those who learn how to build with others, who value people as the greatest resource of all. When you understand people, when you learn to work with them, listen to them, and respect their differences, you open doors that talent alone can't unlock. Thinking correctly means realizing that no one becomes great in isolation. Every success story is supported by collaboration, trust, and shared purpose. You don't have to be the smartest in the room. You just have to be wise enough to learn from those around you. People who think incorrectly see others as competition. They believe that for them to win, someone else must lose. They measure success by comparison instead of contribution. But when you value people, you stop chasing validation and start seeking collaboration. You begin to notice that every person you meet has something you don't, an experience, a skill, a perspective. Instead of feeling threatened, you feel inspired. You start learning from others instead of resenting their strengths. This shift changes your energy and it changes your results. You move from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking, from insecurity to growth. Valuing people also means treating them with respect. no matter their position. It's easy to be kind to those above you, but true character is revealed in how you treat those who can do nothing for you. People remember how you make them feel, not how much you know. The way you treat others determines the quality of your network, and your network determines the reach of your success. Thinking correctly about people means understanding that relationships are not transactions, they are investments. Every time you uplift someone, listen with empathy, or help without expecting anything in return, you're building invisible bridges that may one day carry you to new opportunities. When you work with people instead of against them, you also learn faster. Collaboration accelerates growth because it combines experience, creativity, and wisdom. Two minds thinking together can see angles one alone cannot. This is why great teams outperform great individuals. The ego says, I can do it alone. Wisdom says, together we can do it better. The moment you let go of pride, you gain access to collective strength. Correct thinking is not about being the best. It's about bringing out the understanding people also helps you navigate life with more peace. When you learn that not everyone will think like you, agree with you, or support you, you stop taking things personally. You stop wasting energy trying to control others. Instead, you focus on understanding them. You listen more, judge less, and respond with calm instead of emotion. The one who understands people has more power than the one who argues with them. Because influence is not built through force, it's built through empathy. When people feel understood, they open their minds. That's when real communication begins. Correct thinking about people means seeing value in everyone, even in those who disagree with you. Every person you meet is a mirror showing you something about yourself. Some teach you what to do, others teach you what not to do. Some show you kindness, others test your patience. But all of them add something to your growth if you're willing to see it. When you stop judging and start observing, you begin to understand human nature deeply. You see patterns in behavior, you read emotions more clearly, and you learn to lead with understanding instead of authority. Valuing people also means being a person of value yourself. You can't expect respect if you don't give it. You can't demand loyalty if you don't offer it. The most respected people are not those who shout the loudest, but those who lead quietly through integrity, compassion, and consistency. When you become reliable, kind, and authentic, people trust you. And when people trust you, they will walk with you through any challenge. Success is not built on the number of people who admire you, but on the number who believe in you. When you think correctly about people, envy disappears. Instead of feeling jealous of others' success, you feel encouraged by it. You see their wins as proof that success is possible, not as a threat to. Oh, your worth. You cheer for them because you understand that another person's light doesn't dim yours. It reminds you to shine in your own way. This mindset keeps your heart clean, your focus clear, and your energy high. The more you celebrate others, the more you attract the same energy back. Correct thinking about people also changes how you lead. Leadership is not about control, it's about service. The best leaders are those who lift others, who bring out hidden potential, who create environments where people can grow. When you lead with understanding instead of authority, people don't just follow you, they trust you, they believe in you, they give their best for you. True leadership begins when you stop asking, what can I get from people, and start asking, what can I give to them? When you learn to value people, you stop building walls and start building bridges. You stop seeing others as rivals and start seeing them as partners in progress. The more you invest in understanding, respect, and kindness, the more the world reflects it back to you. Because success built on relationships lasts longer than success built on rivalry. The mind is like a magnet. Whatever it focuses on, it begins to attract. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they focus on the wrong things. They spend their lives thinking about what they fear, what they don't want, and what might go wrong. They fill their minds with worry, doubt, and negativity, then wonder why their reality mirrors the same. The truth is that your focus creates your future. Whatever dominates your thoughts shapes your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your direction. Thinking correctly means learning to control where your focus goes. It means choosing to think about what you want, not what you want to avoid. Because when your mind is fixed on fear, you move toward it, but when it's fixed on purpose, you grow into it. When you think about problems all day, your brain starts looking for more of them. But when you think about possibilities, your brain begins to find solutions. The way you think literally trains your brain to filter reality. If you believe life is against you, you'll see evidence of it everywhere. But if you believe life is working for you, you'll notice opportunities even in struggle. Focus acts like a spotlight. Whatever it shines on expands. If you keep shining it on pain, the pain grows louder. If you shine it on progress, your mind becomes stronger. The direction of your focus decides the direction of your energy, and where your energy goes, your life follows. Most people don't even realize how powerful their thoughts are. They speak about their fears more than their dreams. They imagine failure more vividly than success. They replay past mistakes instead of rehearsing future victories. But correct thinking requires awareness. It demands that you take charge of your inner dialogue. You must learn to catch negative thoughts the moment they appear and replace them with empowering ones. The mind can't hold two dominant thoughts at once. It will always follow the stronger one. So you must make sure the stronger thought is the one that leads you forward. Focusing on what you want doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to direct your energy towards solutions rather than problems. It means acknowledging the challenge without letting it control your mindset. Every situation in life gives you two options: to focus on what's wrong or to focus on what's possible. The one who thinks correctly always chooses the latter, because they understand that the quality of their thoughts determines the quality of their life. When your focus is driven by fear, you see limits. When it's driven by faith, you see potential. Your focus also affects your emotions. When you think about what's missing, you feel frustrated. When you think about what's possible, you feel motivated. The mind follows attention, and emotions follow thought. That's why successful people train themselves to focus on gratitude, progress, and purpose. They don't deny pain, they just don't feed it. They understand that attention is energy, and whatever you feed grows. If you feed negativity, it expands. If you feed possibility, it multiplies. The right focus doesn't remove problems, but it gives you the strength and clarity to overcome them. Correct focus also changes how you use your time. When you know what you want, distractions lose power. You stop wasting hours on things that don't matter. You stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. You stop comparing and start creating. Focus brings direction, and direction brings peace. Most of the stress people feel comes from divided attention, trying to do too many things, chasing too many goals, living in too many minds. But when you focus on one clear purpose, your energy becomes organized, your mind becomes calm, and your actions become powerful. Focusing on what you want also teaches you persistence, because the moment you decide to pursue something meaningful, obstacles will appear. The wrong focus makes you quit. The right focus makes you push harder. When your mind is fixed on fear, every setback feels like the end. But when it's fixed on purpose, every setback feels like part of the journey. The mind can only handle pressure when it knows what it's working toward. That's why focus and vision are inseparable. You must keep your vision alive in your thoughts every single day until it becomes a natural part of how you see the world. Your focus even determines the kind of people you attract. When you think negatively, you draw negative energy and negative people. But when your mind is filled with clarity, confidence, and purpose, you attract others with the same energy. Focus creates frequency, and frequency creates connection. This is why people who think positively often seem luckier. They're not lucky, they're aligned. Their thoughts and actions move in one direction, creating momentum that others can feel and follow. Learning to focus on what you want is a lifelong practice. It requires discipline to direct your attention when distractions scream louder than dreams. It requires courage to stay positive when results are slow, but those who master it become unstoppable. Because when your mind is clear about what it wants, your heart becomes determined and your actions become precise. You stop reacting to the noise around you and start creating the path ahead. The power of focus is not in force. It's in alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move together toward one purpose, life begins to open in ways you never imagined. Emotions are powerful. They can be your greatest allies or your greatest enemies, depending on how you manage them. Most people let their emotions control their thoughts, their actions, and even their future. When something goes wrong, they react immediately out of anger, fear, or frustration. They make decisions in moments of heat and regret them in moments of calm. But those who think correctly understand that emotions are signals, not commands. They don't suppress how they feel, but they also don't let feelings make their choices. They pause, observe, and decide with clarity. Mastering emotions doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you start directing how those feelings influence you. When life becomes stressful, your emotions will test you. The more pressure you face, the more temptation there is to react impulsively. But reacting quickly doesn't make you strong, it makes you vulnerable. Strength lies in the ability to stay centered when everything around you is falling apart. People who master their emotions understand that calm is power. When you stay calm, you see clearly. When you see clearly, you act wisely. Every emotional storm eventually passes, but the damage caused by a reaction can last much longer. The ability to pause between emotion and action is what separates leaders from followers, growth from chaos. Controlling emotions doesn't mean pretending to be happy all the time. It means having emotional discipline. It's about knowing when to express and when to hold back, when to speak and when to stay silent, when to fight and when to walk away. Emotional intelligence is not built in comfort. It's built in conflict. You learn it when life doesn't go your way, when people misunderstand you, when results take longer than expected. Every challenge gives you a chance to choose between reaction and reflection. The more you choose reflection, the stronger your emotional control becomes. Those who can't control their emotions are controlled by them. Anger blinds them. Fear paralyzes them. Sadness drains them. They spend their energy fighting feelings instead of understanding them. But emotions are not the problem. Your relationship with them is. When you learn to observe what you feel without judgment, you gain insight. You begin to see why you react a certain way, what triggers you, and what beliefs lie behind those reactions. This awareness gives you freedom. It allows you to respond with intention instead of impulse. Mastering emotions also means protecting your peace. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Sometimes silence is the smartest response. When you learn to stay calm in the face of provocation, you take away others' power over you. People who try to upset you lose control the moment you refuse to respond emotionally. Correct thinking means understanding that you don't need to attend every argument you're invited to. You conserve your energy for what truly matters. You stop letting others dictate your mood. Peace becomes your priority, not proving yourself right. Emotional control also influences your decision-making. Many people make life-changing choices in temporary emotions, quitting a job in anger, ending relationships in frustration, giving up on dreams in fear. But those who think correctly give emotions time to settle before they act. They understand that decisions made in peace are always wiser than decisions made in pain. They use emotion as information, not instruction. They ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? And how can I respond in a way that serves me long term? This is how clarity replaces confusion. Your emotions are deeply connected to your thoughts. If your mind is full of negativity, your emotions will reflect it. If your mind focuses on gratitude, peace, and growth, your emotions will follow that direction. And that's why mastering emotions starts with mastering thoughts. You can't expect inner calm if your thoughts are chaotic. The mind is the engine, the emotions are the fuel. When you think correctly, your emotions become tools for progress rather than traps that pull you backward. People who master their emotions build stronger relationships. They communicate with understanding rather than accusation. They listen without defensiveness. They know that not every disagreement is a battle to win. Sometimes it's a bridge to build. Emotional maturity allows you to turn conflicts into conversations, pain into perspective, and misunderstandings into lessons. When you control how you respond, you control the tone of your life. No one can control how others treat you, but you can always control how you interpret and respond to it. Mastering emotions also strengthens resilience. Life will test you again and again with disappointment, rejection, and uncertainty. But those who have learned to control their inner world can face anything in the outer world. They don't break easily because their peace doesn't depend on circumstances. Their calm comes from within. They've learned to process emotions instead of being consumed by them. They've built an inner foundation that remains steady no matter how hard the winds blow. Learning to master emotions is not about perfection. It's about awareness and growth. Every time you choose calm over chaos, patience over anger, and clarity over confusion, you grow stronger. You start to live with more balance, more focus, and more power. The world around you may still be unpredictable, but your inner world becomes unshakable. When you can think clearly, even in the middle of emotional storms, you become unstoppable because nothing outside of you can control what's happening inside of you.